What's up, everybody? Trying to get settled here. It's been a busy day for me. Hope everybody out there that watches this is doing well. Hope we also get yet another strong episode this week. That would be nice. As usual, I will say to anybody watching, I am watching on Paramount Plus, and it's usually a minute behind anybody watching on CBS. And I'm going to be typing away loudly. Hello, Aaliyah. Welcome back. Good afternoon, Bobby. And here we start with Eva in the hospital room. Leslie with threats. Of course, Kat going to talk to Chelsea. Hello, Blatant Truth. Hello, Alice. Hello, Diane. Hello, Bookcella. Welcome back, y'all. I like Chelsea's shade at Ted. Sorry, I gotta do lots of typing. Aaliyah says now Chelsea is on Cat too. I mean, she threw shade at Ted. Hello, Embers Kelly. Hello, Z Hicks. Bobby said Kat should tell Leslie if she is a match that Leslie has to turn herself in. That's what a lot of you have been saying, and she should. Tough day for a primary after a tornado. I mean, what is this us of Kyle and Nicole? Dan said, if Eva has the BRCA gene, could that hinder her giving the liver to Eva? You mean Kat? I don't know. Good question. Hello, Cassie. Andre's still the biggest baby face on the show. At least now I understand why they gave Andre this injury. To make all this tension of who's going to be the donor. Danny back with Bill. Danny going to try and cover up their passionate elevator stuff again. Ember's Callie said, so Danny's going to run to Bill rather than check on her husband on crutches. Of course. Aaliyah says, I'm so sick of Danny going to Bill's office. She does like to arrive there. Hello, Franco. Welcome back. Cora Jones is Team Cat. Honestly, Team Cat is making me Team Eva again because Cat stands are insufferable. Hello, Kaiwan. Sorry you're having a bad day. I'm glad that no trash today can make your day better. But she might pop up anytime, so prepare yourself. Ember's Callie said, I mean, in this situation, is there really a team to be on? According to Team Cat, there is, yes. Bookchala and Cassie E are Team Eva. Bookchala says, but I understand Kat's position and wish people would just back off and let her decide for herself. She'll make the right decision on her own, which is fair, which is what I was saying yesterday. Aaliyah is also Team Eva, but would like to see them get along. I mean, it would be something different for their stories if that's where they end up after this. Doc Backhand, welcome, who says, if Eva dies, should Ted forgive her for avoiding testing? Cat's phobia pills next to the life or death situation. Bratty, Catty, time is running out. I don't think Cat is thinking that far. Maybe she needs to talk to her mother, but Nicole too worried about one of her men. Ember's Callie says, I think they are making a thing about not calling Nicole, maybe hinting that Nicole will see Eva, not Cat. I think that's a big possibility. Cassie E says they won't be true sisters until years from now, I bet. Maybe. Danny, now Danny's mad instead of telling all this to Bill before she fucked up. Aaliyah says Bill has been playing games with Danny. He has. Amber's Callie says Bill wants his cake and to eat it too. Yeah, he thinks he's on Love Island. Bookchild says Danny could have had this conversation with Bill over the phone. Any excuse to see that man. Fair. Hello, Phoenix Rising. Welcome back. Blatant Truth says, I hate that Danny told Vanessa what happened, but worried about Bill dropping hints. What's up, Devin? Congrats on your next parade. Fair points by Andre. Z Hicks says Leslie needs to go change out of nursing uniform before her evil deeds reappear in hospital events. Franco asks, how likely do you think it will be that Kat gives a piece of her liver to Eva? I mean, right now it seems likely unless Nicole is a match like some suspect. Kai Wan says this feels like something psychological revenge, psychological event. I mean, I think it's very, very layered with Kat. Embers Kelly says Eva's been asleep for a single night. It's the next day now since the tornado. Yes. Cassie says, I don't like how everyone is getting on Kat. I think she will give in, but everyone pressuring her to do what they want for their own reasons. Taking her on this guilt trip is nasty work. But I think on the other side of that coin, some people, like Andre, find it just so hard to believe that someone who might be related to someone wouldn't want to help that person out from dying. Some people are more giving than others are. Amber's Callie says, I agree that they need to stop pressuring Kat, but everyone's reason is the same to save Eva's life. And even if she is a match, the choice is ultimately up to Kat. Cassie says being an organ donor is a choice for a reason. Alice says, I'm starting to think Kat will not be a match. They are kind of overdoing it. Kathy says that is serious surgery. Anything can go wrong, which is fair. But still, I think some people like Andre still find it to be selfish. Danny not taking much responsibility here. I mean, I'm not surprised. Well, Danny didn't do any of this even before Bill started reminiscing. Embers Kelly says, I really think no matter how things go the way they went, Kat is going to break her relationships with her family members, which is sad. It could. I feel like it should have long ago. Franco says, I'm thinking about whether I would want to give a piece of my liver to my half sister that I've only seen twice. I would give a piece of my liver to my brother with no hesitation, though, which is fair. I mean, like I said, I'm an only child, so there's few people out there I would give my liver to. Aaliyah says, I think Bill is trying to make Danny his side chick. Probably. Should have been Lynette. Cassie says pressuring Kat to do what they want is selfish. I don't know if I see it that way because Andre's trying to save a life. Ember's Callie says, "Isn't she already the side chick now? I think they'll hook up again," which is possible. Lisa LK says, "Danny better not go from being the wife to the mistress of the same man. That would be really bad." Bookchild says, "This fussing about self control from a woman who pulled a gun at a wedding. That is the Danny I want back, the one that lacks self control." Oh, these two. I know you're the old man, Devin. You've told me before. Ember's Callie said, "I know Danny was finally getting herself together, and now she cheated on Andre. I think it was inevitable. She's a self destructor." This has definitely been Keith's best work since joining the show as Ted number two. Hello, DGF. Thank you for the like. Cassie says the way the chat is ignoring Nicole and Kyle is hilarious. I've been ignoring their scenes too. At least somebody really brought that up to Kat. Bookchild says Nicole just needs to admit she wants Kyle and maybe Ted on the side. Yeah, just make her become Bill. Elias says Ted has me crying. Yeah, he's been doing a good job. Devin says Kyle's the second best Kyle I've seen on this show, which is true. Lisa Alkay says if Nicole is a match and sweeps in to save Eva, this may open the door for a Nicole and Ted reunion. That's true. I don't know how I feel about that though. Blatant Truth says now the old Ted definitely could not have pulled off this last scene with Shanice. No, not any of these scenes. Bookchild says the old Ted's shimmying shoulders would have been the star instead of the tears. Cassie E says, I totally understand Kat. She is being understandable for her point of view. Hello, Dee Dee. Bobby says, did Shanice give Leslie a toothbrush and deodorant along with the nurse uniform? Hopefully. Cassie E says Leslie's going to have to grovel at Kat's feet. DGF says Nicole should be at the hospital supporting Kat and increasing the drama by the way herself. Leslie and Ted, this time with Kyle is silly, a waste. Like someone said earlier, either Bobby or Bookchala, that, or maybe it was somebody else, that they're keeping, I think it was Embers, that said that they're keeping Nicole away because she's eventually going to be the match. That's possible. Aaliyah says, I think old Ted had a nervous condition, which when they said action. Franco says, which Ted do you like better? The new Ted. Even though he's not new, far from new anymore. So we'll call him Ted number two. Dee Dee said, I wondered about Kat being pressured to get tested and donating. Exotic Butterfly says, I hope someone recognizes Leslie in those scrubs as the nurse who was in Laura's room. I mean, it should be Shanice. I didn't know BTW was between DGF. Exotic Butterfly says, if Kat gets tested and is not a match, maybe it will prompt Ted to take a paternity test. Maybe. Devin says Nicole might be the only one Kat can confide in after all this. I don't know. Nicole's never been great with Kat either. She is a cold mama. Well, there's Carlton. Lisa Alki, I don't think anyone's told Nicole. Kyle traveling again, but still not the Impaler. Well, at least Carlton calling her ass. Book Child says, I need Nicole to be a mom to her daughter, Kat. The girl needs some backup right now. I don't know if she's the backup. Kathy says Kat will show up. I'm assuming so. Yes, Cassie, it took Carlton to call Nicole. Isaiah's been better acting. Still needs some more work, though. Who Chelsea talking about? Danny or Bill or both? Okay, Bill. Let's see what y'all are saying. If I could catch up on the chat, Miss Blue says Nicole is too busy trying to get her groove on with the traveling doctor to check her phone. I am sure that someone has called her. It's finally Carlton. Devin says Carlton, who's not great in bed and makes Nicole think of Ted every time they make love. Well, at least he's good for something. Blatant truth. I just lost my spot in the chat. Hello, Ali Bordeaux. Bookchaw says Isaiah did way better than Tomas, who could ever. Well, yeah, that's not a hard feat. Dee says, "Oh, Chelsea is going to her grandmother, maybe, but she's not on this episode. That's why I'm thinking Danny or Bill." Miss Blue says, "Kat needs to talk to Anita." True. DGF says, "Isaiah has demonstrated the ability to improve. He has." Aaliyah says, "I knew Bill was just trying to set himself up to be back with Danny." Yep. Hello, Special K Ben, who says Bill is a mess. Danny is a mess. Poor Andre. They are messes. And yes, it is poor Andre. Wish the show has done a good job of beating into us. DGF says Danny tossed a wig on her head after the tornado. Dee says, I can't stand Bill and definitely waiting to hear what Danny is going to say in response. Yeah, I wonder too, she's been obsessed with Bill for so long, and Bill's like, fuck his marriage all of a sudden. Kaiwan says, Bill is ready to drop this marriage as long as he gets his ex-wife back. Yep. Devin says something that I can't read. Poor Haley, I can't believe her husband cheated on her, right? If only she could have poisoned him faster. Ali Gordo says Kat needs to talk with Danny. She would understand Kat better than Nicole. That's what I'm thinking Chelsea's going to do. C. Hicks says, I'm relating to Kat's feelings. She's true to her honest feelings. Dee says, be nice. I like Carlton. Well, Nicole don't. Hello, Barbara Gregg, who says, Isaiah is my chocolate sauce on my vanilla ice cream. It's better than that being Tomas. Hello, V Free, who says, Bill just dropped the bomb. Bill said, I don't care. Yep. Cassie says, I am mad at Danny for cheating on Andre, but their relationship needed this. They have been boring to watch lately. Yeah, I've been waiting for this other shoe to drop. I've been saying that Andre and Danny have been too happy. Cassie E says, Kat needs to go to Danny. They've always understood each other. Bocella says, maybe Haley should settle for being the cheated on ex-wife with the big payout since the poisoning isn't working out for her. She might have to do that. Special K Ben says, I hope Kat and Eva grow to have a better relationship after this. Hopefully, the rivalry did get stale. Cassie E says, Bill is not going to treat her right. Even if he gets her back, he's going to do the same thing that from before. Yep. That's why Danny has been stupid in all of this. Andre was the first welcoming one to Eva. That is true. And Andre knows what it's like to lose loved ones. Well, at least Danny's not swooning over this for now. Well, Well, Danny's saying she won't be side chick, won't hurt Andre. I guess Devin, who says Lynette got too popular too quickly and MVJ killed her quickly. Although I think they were writing ahead before they could actually see how popular she was. They went to Nicole of all people. That's true, Aaliyah. Danny did not mention Andre once in the elevator. Bookchild says Danny is arguing with Bill just to be in his presence. Maybe Nicole will be understanding for once with Kat. Let's see if Nicole could put her actual job to work for once with a family member that's not Martin. Blatant Truth says, Danny, just go tell Andre what happened and stop running to Bill like it was all his fault what happened. But she's not going to do that now, is she? Dee Dee says, wrong person to go to is Nicole. Kathy says, oh no, Nicole. I lost my spot in the chat. Cassie E says Bill is not going to treat her right. Even if he gets her back, he's going to do the same thing you did before. Shake my head. I mean, so far, Danny's saying her words yet again, saying that she's not going to fall for Bill's bullshit. But we'll see if her actions prove otherwise, because she does love to be in Bill's presence. Bobby Wobby says Nicole to Kat's rescue. Hopefully. Dee Dee is surprised that Nicole is showing care for her daughter. Miss Blue says Nicole is on Kat's side. Hal has frozen over. Cassie says Nicole is fake caring. You can't fix this girl. Everybody not believing that Nicole actually gives a fuck, apparently. Cassie E says, remember how back in season 1 they said that Eva would never be a Dupree, whatever she is secretly somehow. That could be the case if she is Nicole's. DGF says Nicole is going to get tested and be the match, which seems to be one of the consensuses. Bookchild says, I hope Nicole will finally be the mom that Kat needs, poor girl. Cassie E says Shanice needs to walk away from Ted. She don't deserve that because he's always going to have a connection to that Black Will Spider, who I'm assuming you're saying is Leslie. Bobby says Anita is not even a Dupree, at least not by blood. Bookchild says, I know as Leslie comforted Ted, she was thinking my teddy weddy. Cassie E says, I think Martin is Nicole's favorite child. He is, even though Kat is supposedly the miracle baby. Devin says, I call BS on Danny. Only reason she moved on is because she got drunk and then had to live with her consequences. Aaliyah says, maybe taking Kat to the doctor was always a terrible day in the Richardson house. Sometimes you have to tie kids down in the papoose to get anything done. You think that's why they hate Kat? Let's see Nicole put in some work that everyone thinks is her being fake. Kat had me until this last statement. Well, maybe Nicole will at least get Kat to take the test. Well, Danny's already being wrong because Vanessa knows because Danny's a stupid idiot. I still don't believe Bill when he says that he just has all these feelings for Danny again, because Bill plays too much, and he really does just want to be the winner where Danny is concerned. Miss Blue says, I want Dr. Arnold to take my temperature. Better than Tomas, so. Dan says, well, it's not boring today. It hasn't been boring all week for me, but today probably the best one of the week so far. And I lost my place in the chat because I'm so far behind. Ali Bordeaux says, this the first with Nicole showing understanding for Kat? I mean, it's about time. Kaiwan says, you forget that she didn't even know that her father wanted her back then, and she was confused by her own mother, Leslie. Would be ridiculous making excuses all the time for hating your sister. Stop it now. Come on. I mean, Kat doesn't see things from other people's point of view. Bookchild says, Kat, it's time to grow up, girl. Aaliyah says, I like what Nicole just told Kat. Take the task, decide later if she's a match. Amber's Callie says, I just don't like that Kat's saying that Eva would let her die today, when the other time she said she'd save her. I mean, Eva's got into it 2 times with Kat over that, which is why I always thought that Kat would need Eva. That's what they kind of were alluding to a couple times in the past, but now it's the reverse, of course. Bookchild says, good advice from Nicole. She actually came through for a change. Cassie agrees that Nicole actually came through a little bit. Blatant Truth said, Danny, did you forget you told Vanessa? Exactly. Amber's Callie says, I feel like now more than ever that Kat's not a match and Nicole is. Bookchild says, Vanessa will probably reveal Danny's secret over pillow talk with Joey. I could see that. Devin says, the only feeling Bill has are in his pants. True. Cassie says, today's cast is the A team. We are getting some great acting. Yes. And no crappy characters to watch today. Well, I'm on the fence about Kyle and Carlton, for that matter. Aaliyah says, Haley better hurry up. Special K says, Bill is a narcissist. He loves Bill. Yes. DGF, I feel like a lot of different scenes matter today, which is good for a change. I don't know why Maurice Johnson's not Ted anymore. Andre again being a great guy. Wow, Ted apologizing to Leslie? Ted actually taking responsibility for his part? I thought this part of the story was swept under the rug. You're correct, Evan. Nicole does make it seem like both characters are half characters. Oh, there's Kat. Nicole giving dirty looks to Leslie and Ted hugging. And look what you did, Danny. Hopefully, Danny doesn't end up pregnant somehow at her old age. I wonder if that was real growth from Bill. Well, that was a fantastic episode. I quite enjoyed it. Let me try and check up and catch up on this chat that I'm very far behind on. Hello, GB, who says I'm going to watch today's episode later. It was a great episode. Book Child says Andre is so emotional. DGF says Andre showing up for his cousin with his emotional self. Ember Kelly says they keep setting up Shanice with these Leslie Ted scenes. They do. Allie says Bill likes the chance. I don't believe he still loves Danny. He wants Danny because she's with Andre. And now I lost my place in the chat. Blatant Truth says, I'm so glad Ashley's not at work. Same. Barbara Gregg says, Kat has been given an opportunity to maybe save a life, do the right thing, or you will never forgive yourself. Special K says, Kat is ready. She's ready to test, at least, but she might test negatively. DGF says, the elevator doors opening gave me chills. That was a good moment. Blatant Truth says, these hospital scenes have been great. They have been. Embers Callie says, "The way they said she would be a match, I don't think she is. I still think the Nicole theory is high." Bookchild says, "Maybe Kat isn't a match after all. They seem too unsure, like the writers want us to believe Kat will be the one." It does have that feel, but the writers can also be predictable, so I don't know. Embers Callie says, "Nicole's also present in the hospital, so if it's true that Kat's not a match, then this final episode this week could mean Nicole is the match. That could be our cliffhanger." Miss Blue thinks Nicole will be the match. Aaliyah is upset at Bill. I think Special K is as well. Bobby, no preview. It's not Friday. Right? Maybe I don't know what day it is. Blade Truth says, "Once Vanessa runs her big mouth, she will think Bill broke his promise again." Exactly. That's what I think might eventually happen is Trash running her mouth. Dee Dee asks, "Is Haley listening at the door?" I think it's too soon for someone else to find out this secret. We know this is going to be stretched out. DGF says these actors are showing up and showing out when given something to work with. They really are. Bookchild says, "I can't take Danny seriously. They impregnated what's her face on another world in her old age. Why not Danny?" I mean, soap operas will do that. I don't really want that though. Cassie says, "The 18 did it for me. We need them on every day along with the good storyline." Yes, agreed. Kathy doesn't think Kat will be a match. Z Hicks says, "All characters are showing up with flaws. No one's perfect. The show does like to write everyone as gray, which is respectable, I guess, although sometimes I wish we had more heroes." Devin wishes it was Friday. Tomorrow it shall be. All right, I'm gonna go. I got to do this review. Thank you all for joining me. A great episode today. Very good week so far. Hopefully tomorrow will also be good. I agree, Bookchala. It has been fun these last 2 weeks when there's some stuff to actually like on the show. You also see how much notes I took. I don't think I've ever taken this many notes since the anniversary party when the truth about Eva came out. So it must have been a good episode. So I will see you all later and tomorrow.